Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist congregation of Terre, Haute. This congregation welcomes all people, regardless of their age, religion, race, nationality, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or anything else that has been used to divide people. We are a group of people with our own opinions, our own ideas, our own dreams. But we share ideals. We share a common belief in a liberal religion. In our discussions, we may disagree with each other, but we must always remember that what unites us is stronger than what separates us. We must always end the service aware of the love that we have for each other. Opening words.
We will light candles this season, candles of remembrance for all who have gone before us.
Candles of joy despite all sadness.
Candles of hope where despair keeps watch.
Candles of courage for fears ever present.
Candles of peace for tempest-tossed days.
Candles of grace to ease heavy burdens.
Candles of love to inspire all our living.
Candles that will burn all year long.
Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal, gentle darkness, soft and still. Bring your quiet to me. Darkness, soothe my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, comfort and caress me, and then my soul may hear a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me. So the shortest day comes, and the year dies, and everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world come people singing, dancing to drive the dark away. They light candles in the winter trees. They hang their homes with evergreen. They burn beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the New Year's sunshine blaze awakes, they shout, reveling. Through all the frosty ages you can hear them echoing behind us. Listen! All the long echoes sing the same delight. This shortest day as promise wakens in the sleeping land. Come, let us join them as we remember.
Come with me in your imagination back to a time before artificial light, back to a time when fire provides the only light in the night, and all ours is dark around you. Feel the power of the flames as it leaps and dances. Feel the darkness beyond the flame. Imagine your fear that the darkness might come upon you and never go away. Pile the wood a little higher to give you courage and wait for the daybreak. This was life for prehistoric people. Each year there would be a time when daylight grew shorter and shorter and cold. Scary nights seemed to get longer and longer. What might happen if there was total darkness on the land? What could be done to appease the gods and bring back the day? We can only imagine the thoughts of the people who lived 35,000 years ago. People who lived simply and believed that spirits resided in rocks and wood, trees and plants, and in sun, moon, and stars. Perhaps they thought some sympathetic magic would coax the sun to return. Maybe they lit their large bonfires on the hills as if to say, "Hey, sun, this is what you're supposed to be like, warm, bright. Come back, warm us, make the days longer with your light." It took a long time for the magic to work, but gradually the days seemed to be lengthening. So again, the following year, their shamans, priests, and priestesses would begin a celebration to coax the sun to return. And again, it worked. And because it worked again, they became even more afraid of what might happen if they didn't use their magic to make the sun obey them. If they didn't light their bonfires, if they didn't chant and sing all night, would the sun stay away? It was a chance they couldn't take. So year after year, the prehistoric peoples of Northern Europe chanted and sang and built bonfires to coax the sun back. The prayers for the annual return of the sun kept working. Today, we know the truth about the return of the sun. We know now the sun does not move across the skies. It's we who move and revolve around the sun. It's science, not magic, that causes short days and long nights, and then a gradual reversal into long days and short nights, until the cycle repeats itself, no matter what we do. But the knowledge that came from enlightenment didn't erase the customs of our early ancestors to honor the changing of the seasons. The Romans, the Jews, and the early Christians all used this time of year as part of their own belief systems. And we, like them, have incorporated many of the traditions, sometimes unknowingly, into our festivals and celebrations, not only at this time of the winter solstice, but throughout the entire year. We burn logs in our fireplaces and give no thought to the ancient stories of the Oak King and the Holly King doing battle for the right to woo the goddess who ruled over all the earth. We put lights on our trees and on our houses without thinking of the bonfires of old that chased away the dark. We sing, we eat special foods, and we give gifts to one another, and know not that we are repeating customs of celebration that go back through the ages. And strongest custom of all is our perpetuation of the concept that light is good, dark is bad, and we must do all we can to eradicate darkness and bring enlightenment, just as our ancestors did so long ago. How far have we really come in the past 35,000 or more years. This morning, I would ask you to be willing to put aside your assumptions about light and dark. I would ask you to consider new ways of looking at old images. Let's start with a closer look at the light in our lives. We equate the solstice light with the sun, and we recognize that our lives depend upon the sun being there for our planet to remain inhabitable. But what about global warming? What about the subtle shift in our climate that's causing waters to rise as icebergs melt at a faster than previous pace? What about plant life that doesn't know the season because the cold doesn't come on schedule? We ask ourselves, is warmth always a good thing? Too much warmth in our homes can dry us out as well as the air around us. Too much warmth can bring allergies in the dust and germ-laden colds and influenzas when we're around one another, as we certainly know right now from all the masks we're wearing. Too much warmth in our lives can keep us from being prepared to face the coldness of the weather and the coldness of life itself. Sometimes we are only able to experience the harsh realities of disappointment, disaster, disease, or the unexpected turn in our lives when the warmth is missing and we walk in the coldness of the world around us. Still, we need a measure of warmth to be able to survive. We can't throw away warmth because cold also exists. We must be willing to be out in the cold night as well as have a warm fire to have a whole life, a life that is fully conscious and functioning. The child growing inside a woman's body, the bread rising in the oven, the leaf waiting to spring forth, these all need warmth, and warmth is good for them, just as it is for us. But warmth is not good just because it's warmth. The return of the sun each day brings light as well as warmth to our planet. Yet too much light can cause a sunburn as we baste our bodies at the beach. And too much light can overexpose the film we use in our cameras when we try to capture life's images. The sun shining in a driver's face can cause the driver to lose control of a vehicle, and life of all sunshine without rain can cause vegetation to wither and die. At the same time, we've learned how to imitate light. We have our own forms of magic to replace the missing natural light. One of life's greatest discoveries was the discovery of the incandescent light bulb. Now, light could be reproduced whenever we desired. No need to wait for nature. We keep our lights going all night long. And in most homes, there's never a time when light of some sort is not visible in our computers, our televisions, our surge projectors, and our refrigerators, unless the power lines are broken. It's been good to imitate light. Yet artificial light can be just as blinding to us as natural sunlight. Our eyes grow bad from too much looking at the light. At the same time, surgeons must have blinding white light to see the damaged parts of our bodies and skillfully operate to extend our lives. Work can go on non-stop because light is available. Below the surface of the ground, in tall buildings, and even in space, We shape our lives around the light that we have created in imitation of the sun. We speak of being enlightened when we understand something in a new way. We speak of entry into the world as coming into the light, and we speak of exit from this world as going into the light. But sometimes light brings us something we do not want to see. The light that resulted when two airplanes met two towers of steel was not a friendly light. It was a harsh light, revealing more than we could imagine as horror unfolded before our eyes. It was not a light of warmth or love within that collision. It was not a light we wanted to witness. As we sat glued to our TV screens, the light continued to blast our senses even more. We're still noticing the light that comes from the blast of our bombs on a foreign soil, while we try to finish that story that was begun by others who believed they were entering into their personal holy light by their actions. The worth of light is always related to how we use the light. When we use light or warmth for the betterment of humankind and creation, then light is good. When we misuse light, when we refuse to see what light is trying to teach us, then we could say that light is bad. Maybe it's time we realize that light is neither good nor bad. It's simply light. Just as the dark is nothing to be afraid of. Why do we fear the dark? Is it because of the childhood ghost stories we used to tell each other around the campfire? Is it because we're taught to fear what we cannot see? Is it because we associate the dark side with a part of ourselves we'd just as soon ignore? Or is it because in the dark our imagination has free rein? Or is it because our culture has centered itself around light? There's undoubtedly other is-its to be asked, but the truth remains that dark, like light, has only the meaning we give to its importance. Dark in itself has no capability of good or bad. It is we who have determined that dark is bad. Perhaps it's time to reclaim the need for dark in our lives, just as we also reclaim the need for light. We do not need the dark of ignorance, yet we are sad at how soon we lose the dark of innocence. We do not need to stay in gestation beyond 9 months, yet we need at least that long to grow a healthy baby. We need not stay in extended periods of time for depression and despair, yet we need time to think things through, to mull over our insights, and to dream our dreams in the darkest night before we find our worlds that are mixed with light and dark for each of us. We do not need to fear or hate the skin color that is a darker shade than ours. We do not need to fear a prince of darkness as a reason to live moral lives. We do not need to keep one another in the dark when knowledge that is helpful to all of us needs to be shared. We do not need to perpetuate darkness around us by our unwillingness to face honesty that can only be seen in the light. We need the dark for a time. Then we must be willing to move out of that seeming safe space into the light that each of our lives is capable of shedding. Solstice time can be a time of mindless moving ahead, as we always have. Or solstice time can be a time of finding balance, just as the planet around us is coming into balance. Without a value judgment, the days will begin to get longer, and the light will remain later, and eventually warmth will return. Our shores will fill once more with those seeking the sun, and the cycle will repeat itself over and over, whether we pay attention to it or not. Maybe it's time to shift our thinking as the earth shifts once more. Let's revisit how often we place value judgments on the symbolic light and dark areas in our own lives. Do we move as the earth moves into balance and harmony with all living beings? Or are we still stuck somewhere like our ancestors, trusting the old ways to work for us and the old world around us? Solstice gives us an opportunity to embrace change, even as we celebrate the familiar. As a symbol of the season, I have prepared a piece of holly to focus and help us focus on this season and balance within our lives. I invite you to take the little bag that we passed out. And hold it gently in your hands because it might have prickles. Ask yourself, what are the prickles in my life at present? What can I learn from these thorny places that bring me to balance? Notice the leaves, once green, now dying. See the texture of each leaf. Ask yourself, what is green and growing in beauty in my life at present? What beauty can I share with others so long as it's mine to give? Holly plants come as both male and female. Only when both trees are near one another will the berries come. Ask yourself, what do I need to add to my life so that I can be fruitful? How can I pass along the wisdom of this age to those who come after me? Notice the ribbon that has been fastened to your piece of holly. Not only the gold of the sun, our holly is festive with the many colors of the rainbow that the sun's particles break into when mixed with waters from the atmosphere. Ask yourself, what colors of the sun do I allow into my life? What reflection do I pass along to others who seek my light? Stay in the silence a little longer. Give yourself time for gratitude for your life and the lives of those around you. Be grateful that you're part of a faith community that values the wisdom of the world from many religions. Linger and say thank you to your personal source of light and warmth. Breathe in the season and hold its breath as long as you are able. Know that the darkness will end and life will return to us. Then when you're ready, come back into this space and let us join together in singing deck the halls.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Draw the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure, fa la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new ye lads and lasses, fa la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la.
Closing words. In midwinter. In midwinter, the world comes indoors and is our guest of honor. Arms hug the arriving logs that clatter in to take their place by the fire. Mouths kiss the prickly branches of holly, so elegant in green and red. The forest, which we've called and asked to come, travels long roads to get here. Finally, she arrives, tired, but still bursting with the energy of high mountain cascades and starry nights. She tumbles across the threshold to be fussed over until she's comfortably settled in the room. Soon the whole house is filled with the world's presence, and it is up to us now to make her feel at home. Let this be the year we fully welcome the world and treat her right, and lift our glasses in a toast to her and thank her, and keep our resolutions and mean it when we say, "Joy to the world." By Rebecca Parker of All Souls Church, Unitarian, Washington, D.C.